Jeff Schechter. Most of you know me as Shecky, and I work hand in hand with the social media ad genius himself. And it's been really, really a fun ride the last few years, and I'm here to present to you today. Let's move on. Now, you may not know who I am. A lot of you do, but I was an employee at Blackbox. So I was there back in the day. I used to go over to Kurt's house and bring my dog and you know, hang out with him and his two dogs, and we would just run traffic through, back then, what was a much smaller agency. And I've been through, you know, some of the wrinkles, and it's really been a really, really interesting ride for us to take what we learned in the agency and produce trainings that would benefit business owners across the world. It's been just an absolutely exciting ride. Yes, there were some hairy turns, but I really would not trade that for the world. And so what's been interesting about it is I've witnessed the evolution of this process. And, you know, as you can imagine, their technology changes all the time. And so we've seen some of this evolution of technology, and we've seen being able to leverage some of this technology in the agency and then test it out and prove it out across a lot of different niches, right? And as a result, I've seen the good, the bad, and I can assure you the ugly, right? But what I have never seen is a step-by-step measurable process like the Genius Scale method. So this really comprises all the things that we've learned, all the things that we've tested, all the things that we've absolutely verified and made profitable, spending lots of money across a lot of different niches for a lot of different clients, right? We've also trained thousands of people around the world who are obviously beginner, intermediate, and geniuses, just like you. Okay, so this is a guy that happens to be just like you. This is Brian Johnson. He's a good friend of ours, and we're going to use him as a case study today. And it's just been really, really interesting what's happened with this guy, really just because of some consistent practices and doing some basic things on a consistent basis that we taught him. But really, you're going to learn today why relevance is critical and cost effective. So, you know, as you probably are aware, Kurt, who is going to come on in a minute, speaks and does public events really not just all over the country, but essentially all over the world. Most of you know him as the social media ad genius. You know, I know him obviously as my immediate boss and really, really a great friend and a mentor to me. And the guy speaks at, you know, 100,000 plus mastermind events and attends a lot of different events by other people as well. So the guy is like not only an amazing trainer, but a human sponge when it comes to digesting information coming from other people, right? Which is just really awesome. And obviously, as a result of that expertise, he gets invited to many of these exclusive invite-only masterminds. Really, just, you know, the top echelon of internet marketers around the world, and as a result, he is privy to a lot of information that we get to then verify and test, much of which we're going to share with you today. So without further ado, I want to bring on the man and the legend and my very, very dear friend, Mr. Kurt Mollier.
The way that we're going to go through this training is we're going to do a little repetition because we want to make sure that everybody gets it down. I'm going to give you the case study of Brian. But remember, the new paradigm that we're really talking about here is we're talking about the major platforms really only caring about relevance more than anything else. Now, one of the things that I'm really passionate about with the 12-step scale method that we have is it's a way for our language to be aligned with students and instructors. And now we can talk about numbers where people are stuck on that step 6 and they need to go step 7, but oh, we found that step 3 wasn't set up right. Well, see, when you realize that you have the ability to choose, that you can choose to move from step 6 to 7 or 7 to 8 or back, then there's no fear because you're like, I just got to keep moving forward or backward instead of saying, I don't know. So that's why we produce the Choose Your Own Adventure trainings, where you saw some of the scale method on beginner, intermediate, and genius. But we always want to remind you, you have the ability to choose, and you can always move forward, especially when we have 12 steps and know exactly where we're at. So let's go ahead and just make this fun and easy. I think this is an idea we kicked around with Nick just a little bit. We're like, you know, let's just find some really likable characters. Let's really tell a really good story because there's some complicated stuff we're going to go over just a little bit, and I'm happy to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. But let's just make this really fun and easy, because let's be honest, making money and having fun while doing it, that is what we like to call fun and easy. So remember how you met Bob and Jane from Launchers? Now I want you to meet Brian and Chris. They have a company, and basically one of their tag slogans is their company's called Think Great, Lose Weight. And I love the saying they always has, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. So basically what they do is they have a brand, like I said, called Think Great and Lose Weight. Now, there's a couple of things I want you to notice about these individuals, which they're very much just like all of us on the phone. You're going to love this. So I want you to meet Brian. Brian really is my exact avatar for the beginner level. I mean, beginner Brian, I even named it after this Brian. So it was great because I had Brian watch the YouTube videos the way that you got here just about a week ago, and he watched them, and he goes, "Hey, that's me. Hey, wait a minute. This is really easy for me to understand what the next steps are." So Brian's become a really good personal friend of mine. He's my personal nutrition coach. He's helped me cut over 10% in body fat. He's an amazing individual, and every time I get sick, I call him, and he tells me what to eat. He's a wealth of knowledge. Well, now here's the business model that Chris and Brian have. Health and wellness and nutrition experts. So they're personal trainers. That means some one-on-one time. They're personal nutrition experts. They know a ton about nutrition. They're body language experts. If you got a scratch or if you hold your arm a certain way, they can tell certain emotional feelings that you have locked up inside of you. It's very unique. Well, they do emotional wellness as well, too. They believe a lot of negative experiences can lead to disease and other problems. It's very interesting what science is looking at today, but they have lots of study in this as well, too. Alternative and holistic medicine experts, body movement, rehabilitation. They help people rehabilitate from, anything from people going through cancer treatments and going through radiation or going through just lots of inflammation due to certain diseases. They're great. They have a ton of information. Oh, by the way, this is just the top 6 things that they do. They do so many other things, like, I don't know how to describe it. And I'm like, okay, so we really got to focus on. So we have the business goals. I go, what are you guys' business goals? And they go, well, we want to spend less one-on-one time with people. Just for example, if they go to a gym to coach, what happens is the drive time there, the drive time back, they're not getting paid for. So they might as well stack up 3 or 4 clients. Well, if you're with 4 clients over the course of 4 hours and they run over just a little bit, so now you're 4.5 or 5 hours, if you have an 8 or 9 hour workday, you get about 3 other hours to get something else done besides just being dedicated to those people. The thing is that they love health and wellness, and they wanted to reach more people, and they want to produce predictable leads. Doesn't everybody? And leads into a digital and coaching program. This way they could reach more people. Brian can work at home more, and Chris has about 4 other businesses. He's really passionate in the health side of it, but he also has to tend to his 4 other businesses as well too. So they wanted to create predictable income online, diversify digital products and services, and increase reach with paid traffic strategies. So the health and wellness nutrition experts. So here are the challenges that they have, right? Sometimes we say challenges and opportunity. Here are the challenges that they face, and they may be somewhat like you. It looks like we have a lot of intermediate people here today, which is great. So I can go a little bit faster through some parts, and I'll slow down a little bit when we get to the kind of more complicated stuff. But the challenges here is they had no technical skill, really. Like, they didn't really know how to build, but they could run lead pages. They didn't have an email list to promote to. Now,